Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. An unbalanced rack, just one vowel. Should I be changing? Well, I'm not sure. This looks pretty much on the cusp of changing. It's hard to leave a good rack leave. I'd like to split up the duplicate R and play off the Y and the M. No, I think merry is certainly better than changing. So merry for 28. Well, a preponderance of vowels for this rack. And there are some 5-vowel 8s and 7s. But none is coming to mind. So what about the M or the R? Well, still none is coming to mind, and I've only got 1 point tiles, so I may struggle to score here. I do have Louis on my rack and Uoi, so I imagine I will be playing rather than changing. I have Auri through an R, playing off the same tiles as Uoi. Just wondering if I can get value from the Y. I've got the LY ending, but I think the best I can do is noily, and that leaves 3 vowels, which is pretty bad. Wow, fantastic start for opponent. What can I do in response? I'm already 40 points behind. So I do have Uoi and MI for very little. Louis in the same spot for slightly more. And that does leave a good rack leave. So let me put this down. 14 points. It is better than changing. It's keeping the board open. And although I'm putting a vowel above this triple letter square, I want to do that because there are hotspots available in Feetlia. So the more hotspots on the board, the better my chances of a comeback. Now, do I have a play through the F? And I'm not sure I do. But if there's one there, it's going to score considerably more than Louis. I guess I could play foul. Foul keeping IEN. That's got to be better, I think. Yeah, foul for 27. Wow, more vowels. I did keep a vowel-heavy rack, but I've just drawn four vowels straight with no consonants. So again, a rack full of 1-pointers, but I only trail by 15. And there are spots on the board to sort this rack out. I have EO-AN on my rack and Aeon. There's actually a ton of short words on this rack. I have Ane. Looks like opponent may have the opposite problem. So this is what Ane looks like. For 14 points, such a lame score and a weak rack leave. And I'm providing good opportunities for opponent. I'd like to do better than that. So, how about scoring off the Z? Well, I have Zari, retaining my precious consonant, and also Zori in the same spot. I think this is better than Ane, but 4 vowels, 1 consonant, only 15 points. I'd very much like to do better than that. No 3-letter plays, Z something R, so I can't play parallel to merry above it. No N on the board for Aeonian. Wow, what a tricky rack. I do have anemia. £8 points, keeping EO. I think Zari and Zori are better than that. What about a play through N and Y? Not seeing anything. Well, I don't feel great about this, but I'm going with Zari. And I do draw one consonant, which is good. And the board is fairly tight. By which I mean it's not obvious that opponent's easily going to score, but there are scoring spots. There's the triple letter square next to this E, and there's the two squares either side of the E of Merry. So if opponent has a scoring tile, he's probably looking at 20 to 30 points or more. Great, that could have been worse. And again, opponent playing off a lot more consonants than vowels. Now, how to sort this rack out? It would be nice to play off just 3 vowels. I'm not sure that's going to be possible. Except it is. I have outer here for 19, and duplicate E not a massive problem, especially when balanced with the N and the R, which go quite well with it. I'm going with this. Am I? Yes, I am. And I draw more vowels and an N. Gosh, when did I last see a tile whose value is more than 1 point? And I don't have an I for chi. However, I only trail by 70, so a bingo would bring me right back into this game. And a play of EAN or its anagrams would leave AERN, quite a good rack leave. I could play yearn in column 12. UND not good. I've got nay and woe. Just wondering if I have a play ending zing. I think raising is the best I can see. Only 16 points. 14 minutes on my clock. So what about NAE? This sets up 2 bingo lanes, which is quite nice given my losing status and the bingoiness of this rack leave. It's only 9 points, which is pretty tragic. Where can I score more? I'm just not seeing anything more on this board, and this keeps the board quite tight, apart from bingo lanes, which is, I think, what I'm looking for at the moment. Okay, so finally a consonant-heavy rack, but it's not a bingo-y rack. However, I do now have a couple of scoring tiles in the M and the P. The final Y is going to be quite useful for zingy. Great, opponent providing some more floaters. So how to sort this rack out? I certainly want to play off the N and at least one of my scoring tiles. Just wondering about playing Penman. I don't think there's anything on this rack which is massively worth hanging on to. That is 20 points. Now I do have an N for chin. So would Namer be better? That's 20. 26 for Namer. I think I like this. I think opponent may be tempted to play across from H1. He won't score massively, and he'll be providing floaters. This is wrecking the rack. Is there a way of not wrecking it? Well, what if I just played Nam? And then this rack leave goes well with the A of Bravi. The score is similar to Penman. It's 3 points less. Gosh, I'm now thinking about playing Nam or Man. The score just keeps going lower and lower. What is the right thing to do here? Namer for 26. I'm 100 points behind. I think I need to score. And I do have a P, so I may have an AP play in column 8. I am going with this. Great. I draw a blank. So I have spading and zings. And I think spadings is good, which I have through the A of Bravi. But do I have a double-double through that A? Well, it's not going to end ing. Let me just run through the alphabet, imagining an extra A on my rack. Not seen anything so far. Still nothing, but it's hard to not think about ing words. Nope, not seeing anything there. That was spadings. No. Well, I think I do have an unblockable bingo. Do I have a bingo beginning with the E of foul? I don't think so. Spading and zings. Spading and zings doesn't get doubled, but I do get the points from zing. However, I would be putting an A next to this triple word square. Opponents provided nothing. Is spading best? Well, if there is a bingo down from the E, it's going to be massively superior. I do have pigeons on my rack, but I'm not seeing anywhere for that. And playing parallel to Namer, unlikely, since I would need an E to go underneath the R. Okay. Spading for 81. Pretty good. I'm just wondering if Hyponia is good. Well, I guess we'll find out, because AN is good. It may be, I think I may be confusing it with hypopnea and payphone. But a nice looking rack, looks very close to a bingo. Very few floaters on this board. Now look at this, I trail by just 11 points, so I am back in the game. And that was the second blank. Opponent used the first one on his opening move. Wow, nice score for opponent, so I'm the best part of a bingo behind. Let me very quickly see if Hyponia is good. And it is! Wow! Well, maybe it's Hyponia and Hypopnea. Gosh, and that's 90 points. Ridiculous. And I was just testing it. I could also have played it in row F. I think that shows what little faith I had in that word. But it was good. Gosh, and I take the lead for the moment. Now, I've drawn 2 S's. There's still 1 S to come. And as I mentioned before, I think spadings is good. I'm so close to oboists. I would just need one of my I's to be an O, but I don't have that. And I'm not seeing a 7 with this rack. Great. Just 42 points for opponent, and I'm saying great because I'm not on the receiving end of a bingo. And I trail by 9, but I'm on turn. 16 tiles in the bag. Let me check the vowels, since there were so few at the so many at the beginning. 8 out of 23, so it is vowel dry. And look at this, only 3 out of A, E, E, which are the bingo-y vowels. So I really need to keep scoring. Let me see what this scores. Absit for 30. Always good to see a big figure of 3. And the rack leaves quite good, given that the bag is vowel light. And Absit isn't giving away too much. I am leaving this H alone. However, I'm not sure opponent can score massively with that. So, Absit for 30. Pretty good. Looks close to a bingo. So, do I have one? I've got all of the floaters in Absit to consider. Gosh, remaining tiles actually do look quite bingo-y. I may have played Absit too quickly and provided just the floater that opponent needs, which would be irksome, since I do now have a slight advantage. I'm just wondering about Hawkeys. I don't think that's good, but it doesn't play in any event. Gosh, how foolish was Absit? Well, hopefully the vowels will drain. I can play KHI for about 20, taking out the floaters and leaving a very good 5-letter set, particularly in a vowel dry setting. There's the E of eject and the I of absit, so the absence of vowels does not preclude opponent from bingoing. Great, well he doesn't. 9 minutes on my clock. And I'm hesitating, I don't wish to overlook a bingo, but I'm not seeing one with the T, I or S. Or indeed anywhere else. Now, I trail by 6. What to do here? 9 tiles in the bag. And with an H and a K, there could be some really good scoring spots on the board. And I don't feel that Kai is really getting value from this rack. Just 20 points. This feels like I ought to be getting 30 with the K. I'm just looking for parallel plays, but I've got nothing to go in front of G. 8 minutes on my clock. Eject takes an A and an S. What about a play beginning SH or SK? What about Shriek? What about Shrieks? That's 47 points, and I could spell it EI, but with an X to come, I think this is the better spelling. And I could have Shrikes, and I think I prefer this, given the vowel shortage. So, Shrikes for 47. Spading's not good. Good grief. Okay, well that's not a disaster because I can just play Shrike for 34. Okay, so Shrike for 34. And that's a great pickup. I have Loveliest, Violets and Olivets. Not sure any of them play. I have Novelist through beginning with the N of inch, and that's not an obvious place for opponent to play. This is looking quite good, but do I have a second bingo to really guarantee the win? So there are no 7-letter lanes. Or no, well there is. There's Olivets. There's row F. I have Olivets, Ant, and As. But those could both be blocked. How about a bingo lower down? I'm not seeing anything through an E. Just really mulling that in my mind in case something pops up. I missed Gossamer earlier on today on the Scrabble Go app, which was quite annoying. Now, the other obvious floater to consider is the T. Not seeing anything with that. Row M, not a seven-letter lane. Well, I don't think I do have a guaranteed bingo. Opponent could play through a Hyponia and block both of them, which would be immensely annoying. I'm not seeing anything through an I. So, really, I'm in my opponent's hands. Remaining tiles not massively bingo-y, but they don't preclude a bingo. What else should I be considering? Well, I guess I need to turn my mind to my bingos being blocked. What would I do then? I guess I'd be looking for value from the V. Fantastic. I haven't even seen where opponents played. All I've seen is that Novelist still plays. So he's actually played just the F to make foo and fee. There are 3 tiles in the bag. And I think this is the place to play, but I'll consider. That's 76. Violets, getting the V tripled. 75, so actually very little between those. In which case, I think Violets has got to be the better play because it doesn't provide access to this triple word square in the middle of the top row. And, well, I lead by 1. I guess if opponent bingos, he wins. I guess he wins, but with 2 U's and an X. Well, opponent wouldn't have played just the F if he had 2 U's and an X on his rack. So 6 minutes to go. I think this is the stage where if you were really super good at Scrabble, you might turn down the bingo. But I just cannot bring myself to do that. But supposing the 3 tiles in the bag are UUX, does opponent have a bingo with ALORSTT? Well, I think he has outstart onto the T with 1 U. So if LUX is in the bag, opponent does have a winning play. So 5 minutes on my clock. I am going to bingo. I've seen outstart. Opponent may have a bingo through an E. Okay, I'm going to play violets and hope that I don't see LUX on my rack. And I don't. Wow. An opponent is not bingoing with this heap of junk. Fantastic. So I have AOU. And I have outer in the bottom row, the same as I played in row D. Quite a useful word. Auto is its anagram. And do I have a second out? Nothing through the K. Well, I may not. I don't have to go out in 1 to win this game. And I think the game is won. I haven't seen anything anywhere super hot for the axe. Now I have an A for ejector, but I don't think I've got a good play in that spot. I guess if I can't go out in 1, it might be worth playing off OU, retaining the A for the ejector spot if I think I'm going to have a second go. So is there really no other out than outer? Great, outer remains available. 5 minutes on my clock. and I lead by about 50. So opponent is probably not going out in 1. So I could go out in 2. So that's 22 points, and I'm retaining the A for ejector. And none of my opponent's tiles go in front of the U, so I'm not setting up anything massive. So is there anything better than ejector? Ejector, 15 points. Just scanning the board. No, I'm not seeing anything better. But I do have alternatives elsewhere, but I think ejector is unlikely to be blocked. And if it is blocked, I've got jar for 9. Great. It's not blocked. And the final score, 398 for my opponent, 473 for me, a winning margin of 75 points. So a huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. Great start for opponents. And it took a long time to get back into that game. A lot of very vowel-heavy racks at the beginning. Now, it was me to go first. And I played Merry, that looks fine. Opponent's rack. Got a ton of bingos. Gosh, including 98 for Metaphile. Coming down from the M of Merry. Opponent plays Feetlia. Wow, Olifine, that's nice. 33 points. I play Foul for 27. Is EIN 6 points better than U? It's going to be close. I think U is about -5. And EIN is certainly slightly positive, I would say. But the vowel heaviness detracts from it, so possibly only worth 2 or 3. But I think overall there might be a 7 or 8 point difference in these rack leaves, so I prefer foul. And look at this, while I was struggling with vowels, opponent has none of them. And this is where he played Zing. And I have 6 vowels. What do? I play Zari for 15. Well, Aeon, C12. That looks a lot better. AEO onto the N of Zing. So yeah, Zari not a good play. Fortunately, opponent's struggling with his racks, plays Wold. And now I have Outer, and I like that. And I trail by 40, but opponent on turn. He plays Caddy. And look at this, nothing over 20. Grim days. And I undercut all of these with Nay for 9. But I think my rack leave is better. I'm keeping AENR, which is quite a good 4-letter set. And for example, is AENR 7 points better than AN? Yes, it is. AN is a nice 2-letter rack leave, probably worth 2 or 3 points. But AENR, I would say, is worth more than 10 points, which would definitely cover the 7-point deficit. Now, opponent's rack plays Bravi, and this was a rack I struggled with. Merryman! Wow, what a fantastic extension. I didn't consider that. Gosh, it just doesn't look like a word which could extend, but I guess it's possible merrying is good. Now, I play Namer for 26, which is not as good. Yeah, and there's Penman, the other candidate play I considered. Probably not terribly much between those. Now, opponent struggling somewhat with his racks. Plays Corgi. But opponent does have an 80-point lead, but that is about to change because I have this dream rack. By dream, I simply mean I have a playable bingo. And spading is the only play available. Spading and zings, and also making corgis. Opponent's rack plays Ode. And now I still trail by about 50 points. but I have Hyponia, which I didn't even realise. But I had it. But look at this, D1. Oh, I did play it there for 90. And it played also in 2 spots in row F. So that projected me into a lead. Opponent's rack plays eject. And it's quite a tight game. I do actually trail now by 9 points. And I play absit, which I immediately regretted because of the floaters it provided. Now look at this, C3. Obits providing no floaters. That's a much nicer play and a better score. However, it's burning an extra vowel and there is a shortage of vowels. But even with that, I prefer obits. Now look at this, opponent with just 1 vowel. So the E of eject or the I of absit could have been what he was looking for, but it's not. He plays inch. Great, no missed bingo here. It felt like I was close. So C3, again another play in this spot running on top of Hyponia. Okay for 43, big score, good rack leave. And I play shriek or shrike for about 10 fewer points. So okay, certainly a better play. Now opponent is unfortunate in that he's not getting his fair share of the remaining vowels. Plays foo. And now I thought about novelist and then switched to violets because I didn't want to provide access to the triple word square. But I'm not sure if that's the right thing to do because novelist would also have taken out the floating I and N. But this was opponent's rack and he doesn't have anything, doesn't have a bingo, plays tux. And I considered going out, but I thought I would score more by going out in 2. So I play OU. Opponent doesn't have an out. Plays sprite. And finally, ejector was best for 15. So, what a game. Really tricky start for me. I went behind to a really good bingo from opponent of Feetlia, and I was struggling with really tricky racks, very vowel heavy, only 1 point tiles, and struggled to get back into the game. However, in the middle of the game, I did have a couple of bingos in spading and hyponia, which really tilted the balance in my favour, and I was able to hang on for the win. So really good fun and a score of close to 500 points, which I certainly wouldn't have expected after the first few moves. But always good fun to play a game of Scrabble, and many thanks to my opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.